Hey everybody, Mike Chris here. Hope you're having a great day. It's Friday here when I'm filming this, so I hope you're all having a good Friday, or whatever day it is when you're watching this. This is my first real review on this channel, so I'm gonna make a playlist when this goes up of reviews. So eventually they're all gonna be in that playlist, make it easier to get. But I figured I might as well review the only volume I've read this month so far, which is Black Lagoon. I really like Black Lagoon, and I think just sort of start the review off. I'm just going to read the back since that's pretty much available to anyone picking up on at a bookstore. First thing you do is usually read the back, see if you're going to like it. So I'll do that. So, lock and load with the baddest group of mercenaries ever to hit the high seas of Southwest Asia. For their World War II torpedo boat, the Black Lagoon, Dutch, the boss, Benny, the mechanic, Revy Two-Hand, and Rock, the salaryman from Japan, deliver anything, anywhere in the dangerous underworld of the Russian mafia, Chinese triads, Colombian drug cartels, crazed assassins, and ruthless mercenaries. It's hard to know who to trust. But if you've got a delivery to make, you don't mind a little property damage along the way, you can count on the crew of the Black Lagoon. I'm just gonna call him Rock, because that's what he goes by in the series, and his Japanese name is quite hard to pronounce. So Rock is just an average Japanese salaryman living an average life. But when he's taken hostage by the crew of the Black Lagoon, Rock finds himself thrown headfirst into a deadly world of outlawed heroes, brutal villains, and blazing gunfights. Where he ends up is anyone's guess, but one thing is for certain: he's in for a wild ride. Now, if that doesn't catch your attention, along with the art on the back cover, I don't know what will. With that out of the way, I'm going to do sort of like brief introduction of all the characters. So I'm going to start with Rock. He's not on the cover, but let's see. Funnily enough, right when you open the book, the first panel, it's him getting punched in the nose, which I think is a great way to start off the series. So Rock is sort of a, like on the back, he's a salaryman who gets kidnapped by this crew of pirates. And I'm just gonna call them pirates because it's easier. But he gets taken hostage, and he's transporting a disc from his company. He doesn't know what's on the disc, but his company trusts him enough for him to transport it to where they need to go. But when the company learns that the disc has been taken by the crew of the Black Lagoon, they sort of just abandon him. They're mainly concerned with the disc, not necessarily him. So that throws him off for a little while in the first chapter, and he doesn't necessarily know what to do. He gets a call from his boss saying, like, basically, when this is done, we're gonna say that you're dead, so you can go screw off, do whatever you want to do, type of thing. And he's really, really, like, it throws him for a loop, and he's not quite sure what to do with himself. So he ends up joining the crew of the Black Lagoon, and getting into the series past the first volume, because I'm only going to review the first volume. But getting a little bit past the first volume, he's the only, I would say, normal character with some sort of a conscience. He usually tries to do the right thing, even if the situation he's in is pretty bad. He usually tries to do the right thing. So he's the most normal out of everyone. But as the series goes on, you can kind of see he's conflicted a lot of times. He knows he wants to do the right thing, but a lot of times the people and the situations he's in won't let him do that. So he has to adapt and meet the situation in a different way. So now I'm gonna move on to Revy, and she's the one on the cover. She's also called Two Hands because, as you can see, she dual wields some pretty nice 9mm. Revy is a really interesting character. She sort of, when you interact with her and when you're reading the manga, she has two main modes. She has sort of this kind of serious but kind of not serious like vibe when she's just not like on a job. But as soon as a switch flips, you can immediately see it in the way the author draws her. She immediately just, everything that her happy-go-lucky is just gone. It's all switch flipped, cold, cool, collected. And she's just a badass character. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of the art with her. And I mean, let's get to it. Look at that. That is cool. Yeah, that's insane. That is cool. This is. I watched the anime for this, and this was just such a cool sequence. Such a cool sequence. And just her getting into the series a little bit more, her relationship with Rock kind of changes. When she first meets him, she's kind of like, whatever, I don't really care about this guy. But as they work together a little bit more, that kind of shifts into sort of like a, almost like a codependency relationship, a little bit. Basically, Rock is sort of like Revi's Rock. Kind of, he is sort of her attachment to some sort of realism, some sort of normal, and Revi is to Rock is just this beacon of freedom, this sort of I can do whatever I want, no one can touch me, I'm free. That's sort of how he feels around her, and he really starts to care for it later in the series. But this is about the first volume. So, the rest of this cast is Dutch. Now, Dutch is also an intriguing character. He's the captain of the Black Lagoon. He's the one who drives the boat. He owns the boat. He handles finding work for the rest of the crew, and he is a very interesting character. He's very intelligent. He's surprisingly intelligent. When you read it, you kind of get this, there's more to him vibe, but you're not entirely sure what's he thinking. His motivations aren't entirely clear, but you can tell he cares for his crew, and that's the main thing that motivates him, is trying to get everyone out alive in situations when they go bad. And that's commendable, but you can never really tell what he's thinking. And that's also part of the coolness of his character, is you can be reading and he does one thing, and then the next page he flips it. It's really interesting. The other character of the crew is Benny. Benny is the other somewhat normal character, but as you get into the series, you realize he has his own sort of motivations. He's very techy. This series was originally published in 2002, so a lot of the technology is like super old, like really like fat chunky computers and stuff, but like the stuff he does with the computer is really cool. He drives a really nice car, and he's sort of like the comic relief character, kind of. And the other really important character is Balalaika. Now, she is part of a Russian gang on the island of Roranipur, where this is set most of the time. It's either set on Roranipur or around Southeast Asia or just in the ocean. But Balalaika is really the main contractor that the Lagoon company works with most times. She is an ex-Soviet paratrooper, and her gang is made up of her surviving like squad mates. And she's a really intriguing character. She's kind of like Revi in the sense that she can just flip a switch, and it's just her usual calm business side flips into this almost like rabid dog sort of attitude. Like she's very here. This picture pretty much sums up Balalaika. She's very cool and collected, just like Revi, but she also has her own motivations. All these characters have their own sort of motivations and why they're doing certain things. And Balalaika's isn't really known. You get glimpses of it, and you get glimpses of her past and why she is the way that she is. But otherwise she's sort of like Dutch in the sense that you don't really know what she's thinking, and that's really cool about her. So getting into a synopsis of this first volume, it starts out with Rock getting kidnapped. And the first chapter is him dealing with the fact that his company has basically abandoned him, and the company has basically hired these mercenaries to get rid of him because he's a liability. Even though they told him, don't worry, we're gonna say you're dead, they basically he's still a liability because at that point in the story he knows what's on the disc, and they send this this contract group out to go get him, and they basically shoot up a bar, and there's this really cool helicopter chase, and it ends with this big explosion, and it's really cool. I don't want to go further than that because there's some really cool things that he does. Like this is the first instance where you see him really start to adapt to the situation, and the other characters are like, whoa, I wasn't expecting him to think of that. And it's super cool. And then getting into the second chapter, that's when the whole crew basically has to deal with the other gangs that are in Roanoke, because they all kind of do business with each other, but they're all sort of rivals. And this one gang isn't really happy with the fact that Dutch is working basically primarily with Balalaika, because she's sort of sucking up all the business. She's very smart when it comes to the business side of her organization. It's called Hotel Moscow. That's what she calls it. But this I can't remember if they're triad or like a Thai gang, but they set up this ambush at sea to try to sink the lagoon and sort of like get back at them. And it goes very much in the favor of the Lagoon Company, and it's another really cool like action-packed sequence. There's one thing, this series really reminds me of like movies like Die Hard or Terminator. It's just action. It's really good to read through. And the third chapter in the book deals with I don't want to get too into it because it's actually really quite good. It gets into one of the characters that comes back later in the series. Like I said, I've seen all 3 seasons of the anime. I picked this up because new volumes got released a while ago, and I want to catch up to that point. But the third chapter of the book deals with basically this character that will come back later, but sort of that's when Rock sort of is first confronted with the conflict of wanting to do the right thing, but there isn't really anything he can do but sort of stand and basically stand by and watch it happen. He can't really do anything, and that sort of affects him for the rest of the series. And this first volume really does a good job of establishing a setting, establishing a theme, basically action, but there's darker elements, darker subplots, and themes that really get you thinking about things. And I would say my review of this, it might be a little bit biased, but this is probably 8.5, 9 out of 10 for me. So I very much recommend people pick up Black Lagoon. As of right now, Volume 5 is pretty hard to get your hands on. It's pretty badly out of print. I have Volume 2 on my shelf here. I have Volume 2 here. I haven't started reading it. My dad is currently reading this volume, so I have his page marked. But I have Volumes 3 and 4 on their way, so they will be here within the next week or so. But yeah, Volume 5 is a little bit hard to get your hands on, so if you want to get Black Lagoon, I suggest you start with Volume 1, see if you like it. So that concludes my Volume 1 review of Black Lagoon. I will be doing more Volume 1 reviews. That's probably what I'm going to call the series of the first volumes of series I have in my collection, new Volume 1s that I pick up. That's sort of the thing I'm going for, just to basically widen people's horizons on certain series that they might not have thought about, and just get a review of the first volume. Because usually, if you read the first volume, you can tell if you want to pick up the series. If the first volume's good, you get to the second volume. If that one's good, you keep going. But if the first volume doesn't really get your fancy, then you're probably not going to pick up the series. But that being said, highly recommend Black Lagoon. It is so good. It's a Viz Sig, so it's nice and big. The art's nice and big. But yeah, highly recommend Black Lagoon. So yep, that is my first Volume 1 review for Black Lagoon. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. Like I said earlier, I'm probably going to do a few more Volume 1 reviews of either volumes I have in my collection or new volumes that I pick up. So look forward to those. I'll probably put them in a playlist so they're easy to find. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you have a good day.